Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, and welcome back to another episode of How to Build. This is a series where I teach you guys about all of my For Honor characters and how to build them yourself so that you can play them in For Honor for yourself. And today, after a very long time of thinking about it and really playing with different designs, I'm finally ready to unveil Kawakami Hayate, or Hayate Kawakami if you want to say it like you're a Westerner, which we are. Anyway, this is Kawakami Hayate. It took me a while to figure out how I wanted to build him. I went through various different ideas and iterations and color schemes, but after thinking about it and really weighing it over in my head, I like this look the best, so I think we'll stick with this one unless something new and better comes out, in which case I'll let you guys know. But let's go ahead and talk about this Sohei. Now, before we jump into the how to build portion, I do want to stress something real quick. Some of the decisions that I made had to do with what he is in his legend, and I know I haven't released his legend yet. It's taking me some time to work on that, but he is essentially a forest spirit, a forest deity, and that will come into play later. But again, that's all in his legend. We'll talk about that later. So, hey, really excited to get into this. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into the build. So, for the helmet, you want the Soryu alternative helm. Soryu alternate helm. Then you want the Soryu chest, and then Akuma alternate arms. Now, I went with this helmet. It was very tough to decide because I did like this one, and maybe that's what's underneath his helm, but I inevitably went with this because, sorry, not that one. I went with this because I honestly just thought this one just looked the best. It fit kind of what I was going for, and it's probably one of the finer demon masks I've seen. So I definitely went with this one. This one looked a little too goofy. I didn't like the side hair on this one, and I'm not a fan of the basket head. I wasn't a fan of all this, so I just went with this one, and I think it looks really good. Now, as for the chest, if you do not have the Soryu chest, you can use the Daishi alternate chest or Daishi chest as well. It'll be just fine. Those will work just fine, but I like the Soryu chest, okay? I just really like this build. I think it makes him look very broad-shouldered, very big, which I wanted to do. I wanted to make him look a bit like a giant. I wanted to make him look a bit like a giant, but I wanted the color scheme to really be outstanding, but not too bright, if that makes sense. So I think that this looks really, really good. All right, for the weapon, you want the Wisdom Quest head, the Sazanami shaft, and the Sazanami hilt. Now, at first, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I was running the Crimson Beast set, which I was using at first, but after thinking about it, if I want this character to be a forest spirit or Kodama or some kind of, forest yokai, the way I see it, if he's an ancient spirit, his weapon is not going to look new and fancy and sleek. It's going to look old but austere. It's going to look like something a little bit old-fashioned but easily identifiable, something that kind of stands out, It's not something that's going to be super flashy, but it's still going to look very prominent, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that this one looked just really, really good, so I definitely wanted to go with this route. So let me know what you guys think of this build. I think it looks really good. Again, Soryu alternate helm, Soryu chest, Akuma alternate arms, Wisdom Quest head, Sazanami shaft, Sazanami hilt. All right, let's go into the rest. For traits, default 1. For skin color, I went with the lightest possible just because, the typical idea of a Japanese man is that he will have a light skin tone, so I went with the lighter skin tone on this. For the chest, the meniscus paint pattern, or meniscus paint pattern, which you get at Reputation 10. That's the one you want. For the symbol, no symbol, but for the embossing, you want Dragon 1, which you get at level 19. That should be easy enough to get. For the ornament, I went with the Flaming Dragon ornament. The Flaming Dragon ornament. You can get this at 1,000 steel. Pretty easy to get. For the right arm, we get Parted Ferns. No symbol, but you want the Koi embossing, which you get at Reputation 8, level 20. So make sure you get your Sohei up to Rep 8 or 9 in order to get this one, okay? For the left arm, you want the Parted Ferns again. Now, the Parted Ferns, actually, you get at level 1. You will get this right away, so an easy one to get. For the symbol, though, you want the Horned Oni, which you get from being an Ubisoft Connect member. You get the Ubisoft Connect reward, and you get Oni. Now, if you do not have that for whatever reason, don't worry. There is an alternate. You can use the Shinigami's Tail 4. That is an alternate you can do. But I think the Oni's head is going to look just fine. Material. You want Emerald. Now, here's the cool thing. If you don't have emerald, you can use corroded green and it will work just as well. I think corroded green will work just as well for this build. But I use emerald to give that full green swampish effect. For the standards, we go with meniscus again. I just think meniscus works really well for the standard. And for the symbol, the wave wall. The wave wall, which you get at reputation 10. Now, you're probably wondering, Raven, I can't see wave wall all that well. Why would you want to do that? Because if you use... Hold on. If you use the other chest I was talking about, it becomes a lot more prominent. So if you decided to go with this chest, you would be able to see this on the back a lot better. So I made it just in case you wanted to switch those chests. All right? For the legs, you want the Archways 8, which you get from completing Samurai Story Mode on Easy. And you get Sylvan Biome 2 for the symbol, which you can actually get right now with the Year 4 Season 3 Legacy Pass. So get that and use it. And now for the color scheme. What's the color scheme? Shinigami's Fog, which you get from the Shadow of the Hitakiri bundle or the Shinigami's Oath Illustrious outfit. Yes, you want the Shinigami Illustrious outfit, which is a little bit expensive, but it looks so good when applied. I definitely love this one. So far so good. Let's get into the abilities. I just run all the default. Like, why not? Like, you want Eye of the Demon to weaken your opponent to set up for your big strike. You want Soul Soother as a free heal. You want you need your third feat to be Ancillary Might because let's face it, otherwise you're not going to have the damage numbers to be of any use. And Soul Walker is just too broken. So use all this. Use all this. There's no lore reason. Just use all this. All right. Executions. Sylvan Metamorphosis. Face Meet Metal. Tsukiyari. And Mercy Kill. Now, you'll notice that the last three here are all Sohei executions, but Sylvan Metamorphosis is not. There's a reason. What I wanted to do here is, again, if he's a forest spirit, I see him as a very angry or upset forest spirit, and he will have powers over the forest itself. So I thought this execution worked very well for that idea. He's this forest deity who is now taking his wrath out on those who disrespect his forest, and he is merging them with the forest itself. So I thought this would work very well. All right, for emotes, a worthy opponent. And face your demons. And then for combat, eyes on the enemy. And what you're going to do. So the reason I chose this one is it shows a meditative stance, which I think looks really good. And for face your demons, kind of a taunting gesture. And then for combat, eyes on the enemy, like kind of, again, taunting. And then what you're going to do, like bring it on. They kind of like that thing. I like that. You could also go with I challenge you if you wanted to go with that one. But I think this set works just fine. All right, signatures. Sylvan Bonsai. That is what I decided to go with because, again, it goes into his forest spirit nature. But brush off the battle is just as good. And then finally, effects. Now, normally I don't give effects to my heroes, but this time I did. For Idol, we're going with In the Rainforest. For obvious reasons. Again, he's a forest spirit. He's all about that jungle nature. For execution, I use Shinigami's Veil on all of them. Now, you might not need it on this one, but the rest of them I give it to all of them because my idea is not just that he's a Kodama. He is a Kodama possessing a human. Like, he's basically a merged Kodama and human together, working together. That's kind of the default idea I have. Like I said, still working on the legend, might change that, but that's kind of what I was starting with. And then for free roam, Beacon of Peace for the first one. For worthy opponent, Beacon of Peace. And then Shinigami's Veil for face your demons. For combat, Shinigami's Veil for eyes on the enemy. But nothing for the other one. All right, and that just about does it. So this was Kawakami Hayate What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments if you like the build and if you're going to build it for yourself. Let me know what your Sohei looks like in comparison. Let me know if you're excited about his legend and what you think you might see in his legend. Really excited to hear your takes. And as always, guys, I will see you in my next video. Take care.